Namaste. I talked about Om and the threefold aspect of Om, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And the fact that Om is louder, you have the threefold Om. You sing it more loudly, higher. Then middle, you sing it less loudly. Lower is the deeper. And this is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Now let me give you a funny but very apt example. Think of a motorcycle starting up. In the beginning, to get it going, you have to rev it up, like this. This is the Brahma aspect of Om. And then when it reaches its normal speed, that's Vishnu, preserving everything. And then when it comes to a stop, so you find this lower aspect of Om, Shiva. It's a low vibration and brings everything back into oneness with the Spirit. And so in this chanting, you chant Om loudly, then a little bit less loudly, then very quietly. Om. So this threefold aspect of Om is what we find in the cosmic creation, and Krishna is talking about these things. Therefore, strive conscientiously during the performance of all actions, whether physical or spiritual, to act without attachment. Think of the incarnations of God as incarnation of Vishnu. This isn't so, except that those avatars who come back into this world they're all vibrations, they're all manifestations of Vishnu, because they're trying to keep everything in an even keel, to punish evil, to set virtue on its throne again, and to keep everything working in harmony with God. That is their role. And that is, in a sense, the role of Vishnu. But Vishnu is not a person. None of these things, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they're not people. They're really only states of vibration, states of consciousness. And the threefold, the Trinity of the Christians, God the Father, God the Holy Ghost, and God the Son, are really Om Tat Sat. Om vibration, the vibration of vibratory creation. Tat, that which is reflected in all of vibratory creation, the Christ consciousness, that still presence at the heart of every atom. And then Sat, beyond that, Brahman, of which all of this is a manifestation. So these truths are the deeper things which are not taught usually in this country or anywhere else. People think Jesus was the Christ as a man. How could God, this infinite universe, the producer of this universe, how could he have had an only son in a person living on this mud ball of a planet for only 33 years? It's too ridiculous even to consider. Christ was a person, not a person. He was a state of consciousness. It was a title. The Anointed is the name of the title. But Jesus, the Christ, is the better way to put it than Jesus Christ. And it was Krishna, the Krishna, or the Christ. Buddha, the Christ. This is the truth. So anyway, by the path of right action alone, Raja Janaka and others like him, karma yogis, attain perfection. To offer guidance to others, you too should be active. There's this story of Sukadeva, and he was the son of Janaka, and he wanted to leave his guru. No, he was the son, I'm sorry, I've got this all wrong. He was the son of Vedavyasa. And Vedavyasa was certainly qualified to be his guru, but he was following after Sukadeva and saying, why do you have to leave me to go find your guru? And Sukadeva looked at him sort of as if down his nose. He said, get away, you have Maya, as if to say you have a disease. And so Vedavyasa said, all right, I can send you to a great master. And this master was Janaka. And he came to Janaka, and Janaka said, well, before I accept you as a disciple, I will ask you to carry this little little pot of oil filled to the brim to go all through my palace and bring it back without spilling a drop. Well, it was so difficult to carry that thing without spilling a drop that he had to keep very concentrated on the oil. And when he got back, Raja Janaka said, "Now tell me, what did you see in the palace?" "Oh, Master, I was so concentrated on not spilling the oil that I wasn't able to even think of what I was passing around and seeing." Raja Janaka said, "You have to learn more than that. You have to be active in this world and yet keep the oil of your concentration on God from spilling. So do it again." And he went through the whole palace, keeping his mind on that, and then he found freedom. But before that, what happened was that he came to Janaka, and he saw Janaka being a king and ruling all these people and all these scantily clad ladies and all the normal scenes of a court, and he thought, "Oh, I don't want this kind of a guru," and he left. So Janaka arranged for a fire to happen. And suddenly this person burst into the scene of the courtroom, said, "Your Majesty, the palace is on fire." And as the fire approached, Sukadeva, with all his books of spiritual teachings and so on, he began slapping the fire to keep his scriptures free from burning. And Raja Janaka said, "You mean you're so attached to your books? You see, I'm not attached to anything." He said, "The fire can come, it can burn me, I don't mind." And so Sukadeva understood that he was more attached to his books than Raja Janaka to anything in his palace. Then he understood that Janaka was a wise man, and he took initiation from him. And my guru said that Lahiri Mahashaya, his own Param Guru, his own Param Guru, my Param Guru, that he was Raja Janaka in a former lifetime. And so many of these great masters have come back again and again. They didn't just live then. They come back to this planet again and again to help free man from his delusion. So anyway, that story is a beautiful one, because he is saying here, let's see, where is it again? Raja Janaka and others like him, karma yogis, attained perfection. To offer guidance to others, Janaka was completely unattached. Of course, he had been a great master in other lives too, but as Krishna and Arjuna played the game of having the guru and the disciple, and Arjuna pretended not to know anything and was learning humbly at the feet of Lord Krishna, but it is said in ancient tradition that they too were great masters already in long, long ago lives, Nara and Narayan. And Krishna was Narayan, and Nara was Arjuna. And the story goes that Nara one time, Satan tried to tempt him, and he created a beautiful woman, and Nara just created 100 equally beautiful women, so Satan just gave up. Well, the thing is that these souls, my guru, Sri Yukteswar, Lahiri Mahashaya, Babaji, these few souls have been really, you might say, the gurus of this planet. And their role has been to help people down through the ages. Who knows how long they have been coming here. I know that my guru said, "I killed Yogananda long ago. No one dwells in this temple now but God." And how long ago? Well, you know, the age of an earth is not very long compared to God. And I think that they have been born in this world again and again to help keep this planet on an even keel and keep the people in this planet aware that there are higher truths to be gained. So this higher truth is what Krishna is teaching then, what he teaches now through Babaji, what Yogananda taught. Yogananda knew all these things, and this is what makes his interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita so absolutely wonderful. He himself was Arjuna receiving that teaching, but he himself also tuned into Vedavyasa and let Vedavyasa write it through him. The deeper but esoteric aspects of the spiritual path are really just thrilling to think about. Now he goes on to say, to offer guidance to others, you too should be active. But then, whatever the superior being does, lower beings imitate. His behavior sets the standard for right living in the world. And so, an avatar-like master will go through the whole process, and you see him as a little boy in his Autobiography of a Yogi, having to go through all these. I know we read about all these great masters he met and so on. He told me toward the end of his life. In fact, they used to ask me questions. They called him Chota Mahashai, which means little great soul. Lahiri Mahashai was Lahiri, the great soul. And they knew that he was a master, but he acted this part of the humble seeker in order to help us to know. As Ramakrishna said, if a person does even 100th part of what I do, he will find God. His intensity of search was something no ordinary human being's nervous system could even stand. And Yogananda was like that too. His absolute dedication to God, his firmness in practicing sadhana, and his humility in front of his guru, he did all these things not because he needed to. He'd found his liberation, as he said, long, long ago. But he did it for us to know that this is how we can find God. So we need to follow his example. What the superior being does will other people do too. Whereas there have been masters who don't meditate. They don't feel the need to. They don't need to. They're already Jivan Muktas. But the thing is, the trouble is that their disciples often will say, well, meditation isn't our way, effort isn't our way. And so they think it's just the grace of the Guru who will do it. But no, that's not enough. Yes, the grace of the Guru is a great deal, but you too must make that effort. It is not only God's blessings and God's grace, it is your blessings and your grace that are needed to bring you to liberation. So the more you meditate, the more you keep the presence of God, know that yes, it is His will, yes, it is His grace, but you have to make that effort, and you still have to make it in the right way. Feel that you are offering it. This is what Krishna is saying. Offer it as yajna. The efforts that you make to meditate, the efforts that you make to do the right thing and to help other people and be sattvic and all these things, you have to give them back to God. And bit by bit, He will perfect you. You don't do it. He will bring that state of freedom to you, yes, but it must begin with you. 3 things are necessary. God, His grace. Master used to say, the path is 25% your effort, 25% the effort of the Guru on your behalf, 50% the grace of God. But that grace of God will only come when the Guru's labor on your behalf. You know, Shankaracharya said the greatest blessing in all the 3 worlds is to have a God-realized Guru. He doesn't only help you to become as good as he helps you to become like him. He makes you too a Guru. You must reach that point in your evolution where everything that you do is He doing it through you. And so, Arjuna, no further duty compels me. There is no state left for me to attain, and nothing in the 3 worlds, material, astral, or causal, is left there for me to gain. Yet still I work on for the upliftment of others. There, where all uplifting work is done, am I. So remember, when you think of God and act for Him, that He will be there. And this is why, even though the Guru seems to be a man, he is really, or a woman, because Gurus can be either, obviously. But the important thing is that if you give your life to Him, He will lift you up and make you one with Him. As Shankara said, there is no blessing greater than in all the 3 worlds than to have a living Guru. Until then, if you go to lesser teachers, they confuse you. They give you many false reasonings. They will tell you that, for example, don't have any desires, don't even desire God. This is a false teaching. You must desire. Desire is, what you mustn't have is desire for personal fulfillment, ego fulfillment. You mustn't desire anything for yourself, but desire to please God, desire to find God, the desire to find His bliss. These have to be there, otherwise you wouldn't try. Desire directs energy, and the more you direct that energy toward God, the more God can come in and help you. So it's 25% your effort, but in fact that means about 100% of your effort as you know it, because it takes a great deal of effort to find God, but still it's only 25%. The Guru works on your behalf, and he takes your karma onto his body, and he will suffer for you if necessary to help lift that karma so that you can try more effectively and more easily. But finally, even the Guru's effort and the influence of the Guru to lift you up into a higher state of consciousness, finally, this is why my Guru said, you are not my disciples, you are God's disciples. God finally acts through the Guru. God finally acts through even your own actions. 50% is the grace of God. You have to open yourself to His grace, and that is your part of the bargain. You have to say that everything I am belongs to you. Everything that I aspire to, I give to you. But you must have right aspiration. And don't be tempted to think that anybody, just because he puts his name up on a bulletin board that I'm a guru, that's not enough. He has to truly be a guru. Such a guru can lift you out of Maya. And finally it's all God, and finally it's all Guru, and finally it's all the Self, and everything becomes one. Really, this spiritual teaching is so thrilling and so all-encompassing, but in the end, you and God are one. Joy to you.